Standing in a windowless kitchen at noon can feel like being trapped inside a giant, hollowed-out walnut. Everything is a bit too dim, a bit too cramped, and the air feels heavy with the scent of old wood and missed opportunities. Many homeowners experience a genuine sense of color paralysis when faced with a room that never sees a single ray of natural sunlight. Moving past the anxiety of picking a muddy color requires a shift in perspective. Instead of fighting the lack of light, the goal is to curate an artificial glow that feels expensive, intentional, and deeply cozy. By mastering the art of light reflectance and high sensory textures, that cave-like kitchen can become the most sophisticated room in the house. Designers used to swear that white was the only cure for a dark room, but that is a persistent myth that often backfires. Without natural light to bring out the blue and yellow nuances in white paint, the walls often end up looking like a depressing hospital hallway. Cultural trends are now shifting toward enveloping spaces that embrace their intimacy through rich, saturated tones and warm, layered lighting. Lived-in luxury is about making the room so beautiful that no one even notices the lack of a window. This pairing feels like a crisp glass of bubbly served on a rainy afternoon in a high-end hotel lounge. A soft, buttery champagne cream on the upper cabinets creates a bounce of light that feels gentle against the eyes and mimics the soft glow of a candle. When these meet base units in a deep, stony charcoal, the room gains a grounded anchor that prevents the lighter color from feeling too floaty or cheap. This contrast creates a visual horizon line that makes the ceiling feel like it is floating higher than it actually is, which is a crucial trick for windowless rooms. Unlacquered brass hardware aging gracefully against that champagne finish adds a layer of history and a touch of warmth that plastic or chrome simply cannot provide. This palette thrives under warm 2700 Kelvin lighting because the yellow undertones in the paint respond beautifully to artificial warmth, making the lack of windows feel like a deliberate choice for coziness. Think about adding a white quartz countertop with very subtle gold veining to tie the two shades together. The charcoal base cabinets will hide the inevitable scuffs of a busy kitchen, while the champagne tops will keep the atmosphere light enough for a morning coffee ritual. It is a sophisticated, high-contrast look that feels timeless and expensive without trying too hard to be trendy. Green acts as an organic neutral that brings a breath of fresh air into a windowless void where plants might struggle to survive. A muted, dusty sage on the cabinetry mimics the feeling of an herb garden at dusk, providing a psychological connection to the outdoors. To keep it from feeling too heavy or muddy in the shadows, pairing it with honeyed oak accents or open shelving is essential. The warmth of the wood acts as a foil to the cool tendencies of the green, creating a balanced temperature that feels welcoming rather than clinical. Adding a backsplash of handmade Zellige tiles in a pearlescent white creates a shimmering effect that bounces light around corners like tiny mirrors, making up for the lack of sun. This look is the design equivalent of a cashmere sweater, because it is comfortable and high-end. Even without windows, the sage green tricks the brain into thinking there is greenery just around the corner. Imagine this color with a butcher block countertop and some copper canisters sitting on the counter. The way the sage interacts with the orange tones of the copper creates a complementary color harmony that feels incredibly vibrant despite the low light. This is for the person who wants their kitchen to feel like a cozy English cottage hidden away in the middle of a bustling city. Navy blue is often feared in dark rooms, but it provides a depth that white simply cannot touch. A deep, midnight blue used on the base cabinets creates a sense of stability and drama that makes the room feel like a curated gallery. Above them, cabinets in a rich parchment or heavy cream keep the top half of the room feeling airy and expansive. This creates a weightiness at the bottom that feels incredibly sophisticated and helps to hide the visual clutter of floor-level appliances. This duo looks spectacular with white marble countertops featuring thick, dramatic veining that carries the blue tones through the stone. The gray and gold streaks in the stone act as a bridge between the dark blue and the light parchment. If the lighting is focused on the work surfaces using puck lights, the navy recedes into the shadows, making the floor space feel wider than it actually is. It is like a perfectly tailored suit for the home that never goes out of style. Adding some glass-fronted upper cabinets with parchment frames can further enhance the depth by allowing the eye to see through to the back of the cabinet. This prevents the kitchen from feeling like a solid wall of color and adds a layer of transparency that is very helpful in tight spaces. A terracotta blush paired with a cool slate gray is a masterclass in balance for those who crave warmth and earthiness. This shade is not a bright orange, but a sophisticated, desaturated clay that feels like it was plucked from a Mediterranean villa. In a windowless kitchen, this color radiates a hum of warmth that counteracts the gloom of artificial shadows. When it sits next to slate gray, the coolness of the gray prevents the red tones from becoming overwhelming or looking like a fast food restaurant. Heavy linen tea towels draped over a farmhouse sink and matte black faucets add a contemporary edge to this ancient color palette. This combination is particularly effective for kitchens used mostly in the evening for hosting wine nights. Under dimmers, the terracotta glows like an ember in a fireplace, creating an intimate atmosphere that turns a quick dinner into a curated experience. Consider using slate gray for the island or a single accent wall of cabinetry to provide a visual break. The matte texture of slate against the soft sheen of terracotta creates a sensory experience that feels very high-end. It is a bold choice that pays off by making the kitchen feel like a warm, glowing heart of the home, regardless of the time of day. The secret to making greige work in a dark room is choosing a version with a slightly green or yellow base rather than a blue one. A warm greige on the cabinets provides a backdrop that feels much more expensive and intentional than a standard builder-grade gray. Adding pewter hardware and stainless steel appliances creates a layered, monochromatic look reminiscent of a Parisian apartment. Every surface becomes a slightly different texture of the same color family, which is a hallmark of the lived-in luxury movement. The matte paint on the doors, the brushed metal of the handles, and a light gray limestone floor all work together to create a seamless visual flow. This lack of jarring contrast makes a small space feel much larger because the eye does not get stuck on any harsh transitions. To keep it from feeling too flat, incorporate a textured backsplash like a subway tile with a slightly beveled edge or a tumbled stone. The way the overhead lights hit these small ridges will create tiny shadows and highlights that give the room a sense of movement. This is a quiet luxury that does not need to shout to be noticed, making it perfect for someone who wants a calm, serene environment to cook in. Teal is a powerhouse for adding personality to a windowless space because it has a unique ability to feel both dark and vibrant at the same time. A smoky teal has enough pigment to stand up to harsh artificial lighting without washing out into a sickly blue. When paired with antique gold accents, the kitchen starts to feel like a boutique hotel or a high-end jewelry box. The gold reflects light in a warm, flickering way that mimics candlelight, which is essential for a room that never sees the sun. Incorporating textures like fluted glass cabinet inserts can break up the solid blocks of color and add another layer of light refraction. A little bit of wit in the styling, such as vintage copper pots hanging from a rack or a quirky piece of art, keeps the teal from feeling too serious. This color is also fantastic at masking the fact that there are no windows, because the color itself is so captivating that it becomes the focal point. Imagine a dark teal kitchen with a white quartz island and gold stools. The contrast is sharp, clean, and incredibly modern, proving that windowless rooms do not have to be boring. The mushroom trend is perfect for dark kitchens because it offers an organic, grounded feeling that gray often lacks. Pairing this with a lighter oatmeal shade on the walls or the upper cabinets creates a tonal masterpiece that feels soft and welcoming. This palette relies heavily on texture to keep it from feeling flat or muddy. A chunky butcher block island or a backsplash made of tumbled stone catches the light differently than smooth cabinet faces, adding a much-needed sense of depth. This color scheme is incredibly forgiving when it comes to shadows, because the colors themselves are inspired by the forest floor, where light is naturally filtered. It feels intentional, cozy, and deeply sophisticated, like a hidden library, but for snacks. To elevate this look, use matte black or bronze hardware to provide a sharp bit of definition against the soft beige tones. The mushroom color has a way of looking different throughout the day as the temperature of the light changes, making the kitchen feel dynamic. It is the ultimate choice for a kitchen that needs to feel like a sanctuary from the outside world. Using a pale plum can be incredibly transformative in a room with no windows because it introduces a sense of mystery and luxury. This is a dusty, grayed-out lavender that acts as an unconventional neutral, leaning into the shadows rather than fighting them. When matched with charcoal or deep onyx hardware, the plum becomes moody and architectural. It is a fantastic way to introduce color without it feeling childish or overly bright. The purple tones shift as one moves through the room, appearing almost gray in the corners and more vibrant directly under the lights. A pop of greenery from a hardy snake plant in a corner will make the plum tones sing, as green and purple are natural partners on the color wheel. This is the ultimate designer confession color that everyone is afraid to try until they see how chic it looks in person. To make this work, keep the countertops very light, perhaps a solid white corian or a light concrete, to provide a clean break between the deep colors. It is a daring palette that rewards the homeowner with a kitchen that feels like a piece of art. A soft butter yellow acts as a synthetic sun, bringing a cheerful energy to a tucked-away apartment galley that could otherwise feel gloomy. To keep it from feeling too country or dated, it must be paired with something industrial and cool, like zinc or a concrete effect countertop. This tension between the sunny yellow and the raw gray creates a modern aesthetic that feels fresh and purposeful. Using a high-gloss finish on yellow cabinets can also help bounce light around the room, although a satin finish is usually better for hiding fingerprints in a working kitchen. This palette is like a shot of espresso for the home because it is bright and energizing. It is guaranteed to wake a person up while the morning oats are simmering, even if it is pitch black outside. Consider adding some open shelving in a dark metal to ground the yellow and prevent it from feeling too sugary. The cool zinc elements will pull the blue tones out of the yellow, making it feel more sophisticated and less like a nursery. It is a brave choice that turns a dark room into a beacon of light. A pale sky blue paired with deep walnut wood creates a stunning mid-century modern vibe that works wonders in dark spaces. The light blue acts as a ceiling lifter, especially if used on the upper cabinets, because it mimics the color of the horizon. The walnut-based cabinets provide a rich, luxurious foundation that feels incredibly grounded and expensive. This blue provides a subconscious sense of openness that combats the feeling of being enclosed in a windowless box. Walnut has a natural warmth that prevents the blue from feeling too chilly or sterile. Using large, oversized round knobs in a dark wood can add a playful, graphic element to the design that draws the eye. This combination feels airy and grounded all at once, proving that a window is not necessary to feel connected to the outdoors. To finish the look, use a simple white subway tile with a matching white grout to keep the focus on the beautiful wood grain and the soft blue paint. This is a timeless look that feels fresh and innovative in a space that others might have written off as too dark. Transforming a windowless kitchen is a journey of learning how to invite the shadows to the party instead of fighting them. The goal is to create a space that feels like a destination, a little jewel box tucked away from the rest of the world. Color is the most powerful tool in a designer's kit, but it works best when it is paired with the right textures and a deep understanding of how artificial light interacts with pigment. A kitchen should never feel like a chore to exist in. By embracing deep tones for drama, or warm neutrals for glow, that windowless box becomes a sanctuary of lived-in luxury. The most beautiful homes are not always the ones with the most light, but the ones that know how to use the light they have to tell a story. Go forth and paint with confidence, knowing that a little bit of color psychology and a lot of personality can turn any cave into a masterpiece.